I'm Gale Banks, and this is Kyle from Dark Iron Diesel. He's a mechanic and YouTuber from Saskatoon, where temps can dip as low as -40. He reached out to us last winter to let us know he was having difficulty starting his truck without a block heater. We discovered that his delete tune was to blame. But during our research, we found our Canadian friends wanting more cold starting heat. We answered the call by developing several heating options for new and existing Monster Ram owners. What follows is Kyle's visit to Banks.
Guys, this is nuts. We have Banks over here. That's Banks, and this is the main entrance to Banks. These guys pretty much have the whole entire block here. This operation is way bigger than I thought. Hello.
Kyle.
There are. Yeah, I'm Kyle. Nice to meet you. Your name?
Erik.
Are you Gale's son?
Grandson, third generation.
Gotcha. So you're gonna kind of give me a tour of the place? You're the one giving me the tour?
Yeah. So I figured first we'll jump in, see some Monster Rams getting assembled.
Oh, you guys love the Monster Rams. By the way, everyone, this is Jay. You're head of marketing for Banks, right?
Yes, sir. You have been a thorn in our side and also my best buddy. So
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, we're innovating products together.
So what you're seeing are Monster Rams being packaged right here on the line. This is the line. When you open up your Monster Ram box,
this is where it came from.
This is where it came from, quite literally. This pallet, those are all Monster Rams. These are Monster Rams. All of these lines right here are just assembling, kitting up Monster Rams.
Why are they doing so many Monster Rams?
Mainly because of you.
Yeah, right. Guys, I'm boxing a Monster Ram for one of you, and I'm gonna do something special to this one. Make this look way easier than when I do it, man. Guys, I'm not very good at this. Like, they're barely hanging on. Just like that. In a gasket.
Yeah.
So we got our two gaskets and one of these plates, and then stack them on the side. Do I do anything with this?
Okay, shake it a little bit.
Oh, it's all gooey, it's hot. Oh boy. Okay, and now I gotta put, because this is expanding. Monster Ram.
Yeah.
Just like this.
Yeah.
And I just kind of push it in there. Then I get manual. Wait for it to turn green.
Yeah.
Shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
It feels good on my hands. And then all I had is $25 Canadian on it, or on me. So I'm gonna, do I have some tape right here? I'm going to tape it to the wall like this. This side. And then I'm gonna write, Kyle was here. If any of you guys get this, send me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you a free hoodie. That would be so funny if one of my followers actually get this Monster Ram that is packed up pretty not that great, but that'd be funny. Okay, so now I close this. Boom, good to go. And she's in the pile. Again, if one of you guys get that 25 bucks, shoot me a message on Dark Iron Diesel on Instagram and I'll send you a free hoodie. Here we have one warehouse. I'm assuming, judging by the exhaust here, this is kind of like where you build exhaust?
Yeah, so this is manufacturing. So we've got our kind of CNC corner, if you will. So CNC lathe, CNC mill, some manual machinery, and then we got overflow from the tube shop. So we can jump right over and look at our latest and greatest tube bender. We do the vast majority of our tubular products in-house, and all the 5-inch is done on this machine. 6-inch bender, can bend up to 6-inch 304.
Oh wow.
So very, very strong machine. And we're building 400 series 5-inch on here. So you have all your different dies, your wipers, your mandrels, and so ultimately what it's going to do is just use a huge amount of force, bend a tube extremely accurately, even account for things like spring back, so you overbend it, the material settles, and makes for a very, very accurate 5-inch system. Way up to a full 20-foot stick from the mill. So we'll trim them down to size, bring them here, do 2, 3, 4 bends, whatever it takes. Yeah. And out of here, they'll get deburred, welding, upswedged, and we'll take a look at the rest of the processes. But this is just step 2. So here we've got a number of stamping dies. So if you've got an exhaust section that goes and nests over the top, this is cutting reliefs in it. So when you go and actually put an exhaust clamp on it, it can deform and grab it. Gotcha. So this giant stamping press is just giving reliefs for that tube.
How old is this thing? Because, like, guys, look at this thing. Like, there's no way that's a modern technology.
And some of this we got out of World War II era machinery that old warehouses were selling.
But it still works like a top?
Oh yeah. A huge selling point of our headers is we have very thick 5/8 flanges. And so what most guys do is they'll weld it all up, the flange will warp like crazy, and they just throw it on a belt sander. Like, oh, it's good enough. So what we do is after it's welding, it warps to what it is. So you always have a little bit of warpage. And so you come in here, this entire thing is a pneumatic clamp. It clamps down on this giant long tube V10 header, and it goes and runs through. It's got a big 6-inch tool head, and it'll go and actually do a surfacing pass. And so that thing is perfectly flat, seals beautifully, and it's what we do to all of our headers. So everything is perfectly flat, even after welding.
I know Gale's really adamant on everything being like perfectly level. You're not getting any leaks or anything like that.
Yeah, we hold it to a very high spec. Some boost tubes in process. So these two giant machines are eccentric end formers. So what's happening is we're taking a tube. So this has been bent, it's been cut to size for a boost tube, and what we're taking it and we're going and forming this bead. So this allows a silicone boot to come over, you put a T-bolt on it, and that's going to seal up against this bead. And so what this machine does is you come in, you clamp the tube, and that's an eccentric roller, so it has the profile, and it slowly rolls outward and outward and outward, and builds the shape into it without deforming it.
Man, this is crazy. Like, you have so many of these things in here. That's nuts.
After the exhaust tubes are bent, they're the exact same diameter, and so you have to make one of them bigger or smaller. If you want to make it bigger, this is an upswedge tool, and it's got this taper, and these fingers will grow outwards and actually expand that exhaust tube so they can nest over the top of each other. And then once you have the reliefs, you clamp it, and they nest nicely, and there's not going to be any leaks. 7 welding stations, 3 more on the back side. Our smaller tube benders over here, so these are kind of the old school machines that still work great. Some more manual approaches to bending and everything, so less control, but it still works if you know what you're doing. So a lot of these guys here,
these ones rely a little bit more on the techs operating it.
Yeah, and some of these guys have been here 20 plus years. They've been running this day in and day out, so they know how to use them, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. This is just completely full of raw goods ready to be packaged, so exhaust systems, headers, boost
This is crazy. Look how far down it goes.
This is one of 2. This is just for our large components, as we call them.
And it's just stacked up and up. Look at all this stuff. That's nuts. So like a lot of these are ready to go, right?
The boost tubes will come in raw. We'll get them shipped out, get them powder coated, and our guys will wrap them back up, put them away, and these are ready to get packaged.
There's a lot of stuff here, man. That's nuts.
It's a lot. Of course, everything that we sell, we offer installs.
Oh, so you guys actually, like local people in California can bring their trucks here and you'll install them?
Oh, yeah, not just California. I mean, we've had guys drive down from Alaska, I mean, all over the states to have our stuff installed.
So you actually have mechanics that work for you?
3 full-time guys installing nothing but our parts. And I think right now we're averaging about 6 monster Rams a day, mixed in with all of our other stuff. This is research and development. So we have all of our grinding tools, machining, fixture table, plasma table, all of our hand tools are out here. 2-post lift with our infamous project truck.
What is this thing?
A World War I era Hot V air-cooled British tank engine. And so Leno came to Gale about 20 years ago. He had one of these in what he called his tank car, and he felt it was too slow, so he wanted to turbocharge it. And so we sourced a sister engine, which is why it's still here, developed a full EFI, Bosch controller, twin turbocharger, and put that back in his tank car. It's some 50 feet long, ridiculous thing, and I think close to double the horsepower on it.
That's crazy.
But it's
27 liter V12 air-cooled engine.
Air-cooled Hot V. So
Hot V.
Intake manifolds on the outside of the cylinder heads, exhaust in the valley.
Yeah, I don't even know what a Hot V is.
So all of our MEs in here designing mechanical parts. We got 6 3D printers, so as the guys are iterating, changing the design, test fitting, we've got 3D printers running.
Yeah, a lot of 3D printers.
Yep, their engine build area, so a lot of overflow parts, takeoffs from different engines.
Ew. Gross. Yeah, I don't like those.
This is a twin turbo small block that got pulled out of storage. We have some stuff in the works for that. I can't talk too much about it. Our engine build area, this is a 630T, so very, very similar to what would be an eco-diesel from Stellantis. This one, we had a runaway condition on this engine, so this was getting torn apart to see the damage. North Engineering.
North Engineering.
Toes there. So that was ME and powertrain. Now we're stepping into electrical engineering and test group. So we'll come back to our engine dynos, but what you hear outside, that noise, those are our fans going for a chassis dyno. So whether we're baselining trucks, fingerprinting brand new trucks, testing competitor product, validating our stuff, we always test it on the truck, on the chassis dyno, under the conditions we expect the truck to see before we do any sort of road testing. We got a 2018 L5P. It's on our Mustang chassis dyno. What you hear is the cooling fans. The fans are running underneath cooling off the eddy currents, and we're loading up the truck. And right now we're just going through some tuner testing for our Derringer, doing some validation runs.
And that's Gale's famous car wash dryer fan setup.
We found those rusted in the side of the field, cleaned them up, did a custom sheet metal housing to be able to aim the air where you want it. Yeah. That's simulating 60 mile an hour wind in front of the truck. So before we jump into Double E, I think the biggest differentiator for guys in our market is that we are doing everything in-house on the electronic side. So hardware, software, firmware, everything's designed in-house. We have a full team, and even assembling iDashes is literally 4 miles down the road.
Oh, really?
We just send a
so
truck
you don't
down there.
outsource electronics to other countries or anything?
Nope. So we got a full lab back there to do prototypes.
Yeah.
The full team will take you through it.
I feel like we're disturbing everyone here.
So firmware team. We got a couple of hardware guys through the hallway over here. Double E lab, so where all the prototypes are, harnesses, validation, all of our testers are done in-house, and we'll jump over to Rick's office. He's working on some testers right now.
What do you got going on? Can I even film any of this?
You can.
That's
So this is a future design that I'm working on. I also do a lot of testing and evaluation.
Yeah.
So I kind of work at the other end of the designers. They design, and then I validate and test, and I also examine any type of failures or troubles and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. This
This is great fun. If you love puzzles.
I think, like, you know, like blowing up a truck on my dyno, like that's fun. Like this just
For
makes
sure.
me. I can a lot of respect for you for doing this kind of work. Like that's
Well,
very tedious.
I like hard crossword puzzles, and it's
Yeah.
very similar to this mindset of figuring out how to lay out these boards and make it work and all that.
Well, this is an iDash right here.
Yeah, here's an iDash. I was just looking at it under the microscope.
That's cool.
So there's one side of it. There's the other side. Mm-hmm. You can see the processor.
Yeah, this would be the back side where you plug it in.
Yeah. So there's all the interface chips and processor and Bluetooth module, all that kind of stuff.
Ready to, we skip right past it, but do you want to see an engine run on an engine dyno? But we have 2 engine dyno cells. We're gonna go check out cell 1 in a second. We've got cell 2, which was also configured for high voltage.
Yeah.
So essentially what happened is they wanted to repower the Humvee. There's 100,000 Humvees in the field. Everything has an antiquated 6.5 liter non-turbocharged diesel engine that they designed in the 60s, and they just kept doing it because it worked for them.
Yeah.
The problem is there's 100,000 Humvees in various fields around the states. They're just sitting there, and short of just scrapping all of them, they wanted to repower them. Allowed us to take a Humvee to Irwindale Speedway, put it in silent only, and drive around in an armored Humvee
That's cool.
with no engine noise.
That's cool.
And so during the test period, we had to go and test a high voltage engine, an engine coupled to a high voltage motor.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to throw in 600 volts, and so we upfitted this cell with a battery emulation. So instead of having a giant 1,000-pound battery, we have an emulator that's using city power. We skip past this one actually. Under this is, we call it our emissions laboratory. What this allows us to do is essentially get an idea of our emissions changes. So of course we're going through CARB, we're going through the EPA on all of our products and proving that, hey, we are not worse, or in sometimes in case we're even better than what the OEM had.
And this is like what you would use to like get 50 state compliance or whatever.
It gives us an idea. So what they would want to see is like a full lab, equipment that's millions of dollars, having like air conditioned room for it. And so what this allows us to do, it gets very, very close on a portable system and says, okay, we're heading in the right direction. Now let's send it out to get shipped, or send it out to SEMA Lab or to CARB and have them test. So here we've got our dyno control room. So obviously cell 2, we've got a newer AVL system. And over here we've got our SuperFlow system that's rigged up with a 7.3 liter Ford Godzilla engine. This is just a straight up 7.3 crate engine, so stock manifold, stock Y pipes. We went as far as putting the catalytic converter here and the OEM muffler, so it's full OEM, full emissions. Here we're looking at the motorhome specific intake, that's why it looks a little funky. The water absorber, all the instrumentation, blow-by meter, cooling, and then of course instrumentation to the nines. I mean, you might be familiar with our 4-channel modules. We've got a handful of
you have over there.
we have more in cell 2, but that's just all of the standalone instrumentation. So we have a mix of CAN bus values, so we're reading directly off the ECU. And then of course we have all of our standalone instrumentation, so pressure, temperature, pulse width modulation, I mean, you name it, it's on here. So that way, when we change one parameter at a time, we know exactly what's happening, we know what to expect. And all of our development is very data heavy. But that's what
Gale loves data.
Yeah, so even as far as, adding our own thermistors into the intake track to see what kind of deltas you're getting in the intake system, to blow-by meters to take a look at what are we expecting for actual blow-by and stock configuration. I mean, we do not take any shortcuts when it comes to data accumulation.
Apparently Gale is actually gonna run me through some engine dynoing.
You got a treat coming at you.
Okay, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I actually did run into Gale, the man himself right here. I ran into him earlier. We weren't recording when I did. So for all intents and purposes, this is officially meeting Gale on camera for the first time. Shake your hand. Nice to officially meet you.
Did you bring the cold? It's cold out.
It is, it's not as hot as I thought it was gonna be here. But what do we got on here? This is the Godzilla.
This is a Godzilla.
7.3 gas.
We were just setting up to measure manifold air density drop. Air density from the ambient at 101.5 in the dyno cell to the outlet on the cold air intake, and then in the intake manifold, which is where it counts.
Gotcha.
So
How do you start it up?
right here,
You can start it from here.
yeah.
Once we get it running, I'm just gonna put my camera down because we got other cameras rolling here. Because I
Okay.
want to actually be able to focus on what you're doing because I
All
find
right,
it interesting.
cool. So first the blowers, fuel.
Oh, that's cool. So you just press the button on the computer and now the engine's running. That's cool. Okay, I'm gonna put this camera down so I can focus on what's actually
Yeah.
going on.
This is all about density and intake, temperature, pressure, ignition timing out of the ECU, mass airflow.
That's also easy.
Yeah, that's ECU. Engine oil temp, engine coolant temp in Fahrenheit. Air fuel ratio,
On both
which is right at stoichiometric, 14.7, 14.6. Both sides. We've got O2 sensors in both banks of the engine. Right now it has a motorhome calibration.
Yeah, they were saying because it's got the motorhome intake on it. So it'd be like if you had like a, what are they called, like an E450? Are they they're still
it's
called
a-
F350?
F53.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
F53. And they've been putting this engine in for about 5 years now. Anyhow, we're going to make a poll here, but we're going to look at how efficient the whole system is at the horsepower peak.
So is this totally stock right now, factory? Like,
Yes. It's just catback right now, but
Okay.
we have a prototype muffler on it.
Gotcha. So it still has the catalytic converter.
Yeah, the cat's in the dyno cell.
Okay. So this has, like, what kind of brake does the engine dyno have? Like, I know my chassis dyno has an eddy brake.
This is a water brake. So right now, we're throttled. So see the manifold air density?
That's at the top, 70.
Yeah.
3.
That's because the throttle is holding us to this level and these power up.
Well, the density is that because it's getting warmer? It's going down.
Well, what's going down, yeah, it's getting warmer, but watch the variables here. The pressure in there is 9.7 PSI absolute. That's actually below ambient pressure. Ambient pressure is more like 14.3, 14.4.
Yeah. So what are you, Aaron, what are you doing with your, like, what's your left hand
So we're
on?
running speed alpha, so this is accelerator pedal,
Okay.
Yeah,
and then we're running in speed control on the dyno.
So is that your, like, cruise control?
Essentially, it's engine speed.
you can
Make sure it
request
stays there.
speed, or another way to do it is with a different ECU would be request torque. In this case, this is a speed-based control system. And the horsepower output right now, about 60 horsepower, less than 100 pound-feet of torque.
So that's what's putting out right now.
That's what it's doing right now at 3,200 RPM. And the coolant temp and the engine oil temp are both right at 190 Fahrenheit.
So that should be pretty much up to temp.
So I'd like to pull 3,800 watts
3,800
full load, and then maybe 4,000.
Okay, so there's 3,100.
Yep. Okay, where the throttle is all the way open. See the density?
Yeah.
So that intake system could be perfected. I don't want that much drop in the intake system.
But you want that to be over 100?
I want that to be, yes,
Yeah.
I sure as hell do, which would bring this up and it would bring the power up. Currently we're making
347.
345, call it,
So you can just
475 torque.
you can just hold it and get a steady reading of the horsepower.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have the throttle maxed out right now, but you're holding it back with the dyno.
So let's go to 4,000. Aha! The horsepower peak is where I thought it. Let's go See the horsepower drop?
Yeah, you're up.
And the torque.
Yeah. You lost like 30, 25, 30 horsepower.
But it's starting to cut fuel, I think.
I think what it says is cut throttle.
It's cutting throttle. Oh yeah, that's right, in this program. Let's pull it back to 3,800. Watch this number.
Oh, you had 360 there.
Well, let's bring it back. You've got to get it stabilized before you read it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's so cool. So you can
Now
literally find its peak.
Let's go to, yeah, you want to try 39? See, that might be it right there, don't you think? Yeah, 3,900 is the horsepower peak. Just for the hell of it, let's see 3,700.
So we're over 350 at 3,900 RPMs. Oh yeah, you're down.
That's 3,700, so we're bracketing.
Yeah.
So it's 3,900. If you go to 4,100, we'll see the throttle cut. Watch this.
Oh yeah.
See that?
Yeah. That's crazy how much difference
The
that
ECU
makes.
is closing the throttle.
Yeah.
Look at the density.
81.
Okay. Now bring it to 3,900. See the throttle open?
Yeah, and air density went up.
Yeah, hugely.
Like a massive amount.
Yes. So they're controlling the power in a motorhome, Ford is, by closing the throttle above 3,900 RPM. And you can see it. You know, the ECU sees the drop in mass flow, it pulls back to fuel flow.
Yeah.
It's a governor.
Yeah. I just think that's so cool how much of a difference it makes when you know, from 3,900 to 4,000 to 4,100, and you can actually
But
watch.
you can really watch it here. You can see the power fall, but why is it falling?
Because of the air density.
Because you're starving it for air density. You're throttling the engine.
It's cool how they go hand in hand with each
So as
other.
I said a little while ago, the density, the throttle is the density controller, and you just saw it happen.
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it, let's take it to 4,100 again and see what happens.
Watch the air density drop like crazy.
Yeah. There you
it gets
go.
so much worse.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So 55 pounds versus 73 per 1,000 cubic feet. That's throttling.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If you don't have this on your dyno and these calculations, the Duitron doesn't do this stuff. It won't do the calcs. It'll measure the values, but it won't do the calcs.
But the iDash Pro will do the calcs.
Absolutely. It does the calcs all on. This works on a diesel. There's not a throttle, except for EGR purposes, but you guys are removing all that, so there's no throttle, but the density will still come down if you have a fuel cut. The air follows the fuel in that case.
I actually have a coworker named Scott. So Scott, I know he watches my videos.
Yeah.
He likes your videos because you're so about the data, and he's one of those data guys. And he's always talking about air density this, and I'm kind of like, yeah, like whatever and stuff. But like actually coming down here and like letting you explain it to me and like seeing it firsthand, it's pretty cool. Like I definitely want to start experimenting more on my dyno with it. But while I'm here, we gotta look at the monster rounds.
Okay, let's do it.
Because like that's the whole reason why I'm here in the first place, is because of the monster rounds.
Let's have a look.
Okay, look at all, you got everything lined up here. We got stock, we got a Banks with what? This one has one heater coil, two in there. You got all the different variations going on
Pretty
right here.
much, yeah.
So you're gonna talk me through it. We're gonna have a look at them. These are cool. I like how you have them all lined up like that. It just looks good.
I like everything orderly.
Yeah.
You know. We did a cutaway of the stock setup. This is the worst piece of automotive equipment I've ever seen in my life. Forget the grid heater for a minute and the failure at killing the engines. This thing, as an airflow device, it's like a throttle that's partway closed.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of air density going through this thing. To get any boost level, the turbo has to work harder.
Yeah. So you're wearing out your turbo faster.
Well, yeah, but if you got a boost loss through this thing, you've got a density loss through this thing. The turbine has to produce horsepower to overcome that to get the density you want in the intake manifold. And that being the case, when you go to something that really flows beautifully, unloads the turbo, the drive pressure into the turbine drops. It's still reporting the same temperature pressure calculation. You know, you got IAT and manifold air pressure,
Yeah.
they're coming up with the density.
Yeah.
Those two numbers, as we discussed in the dyno room. Bottom line here, you're unloading the turbine on the turbocharger, and the shaft speed is lower because the compressor doesn't have to spin as hard because you remove that thing from the intake tract.
Gotcha.
It's between the compressor and the intake manifold, so you get that the hell out of there. now you've got almost no loss whatsoever.
Yeah.
And a way to better distribution into the manifold itself. And then we just recently redid the from the billet manifold cover, we went to a high pressure cast manifold cover.
And you remachined this so it flows better.
Yeah, we make
And you push this in so there's more volume.
we raise the roof,
Yeah.
so you got a bigger section, and it turns the corner better.
Yeah.
By doing this short side radius rather than having a square corner there like on a billet plate.
But do you know what my favorite part about what you did with this now? Is you put these spacers in there. Because that was just annoying.
Those loose mothers drive you nuts.
Yeah.
The little nuances that we throw in and the fact that these are part of the plate,
Yeah. It makes it for a better install, and I just think it looks cleaner.
It cuts time out of the install,
Yeah.
too, and it looks better.
Yeah.
The main thing, though, that we've done recently with the Monster Ram is the dual heat.
I have
You
a
know.
feeling that I may have had something to do with that. Probably made your life hell for a while, and I'm sorry.
You stepped on my lines.
Oh, are you going to say
Yeah,
that?
I was going to compliment you.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
going to apologize
Now
to
I
you.
can't compliment you because
Well,
you already did it yourself.
Wow. I was doing it more to apologize because I know your life was kind
no
of hell.
apology necessary. Every place is not California.
No.
So-
as much as we wish the weather was.
The fact that our single heater is 750 watts.
Yeah.
With the block heat at minus 20 F,
Yeah.
they say in the owner's manual, run the block heat. It is
Yeah, and to
mandatory.
be fair, like I say, if it's minus 10 degrees Celsius or colder, plug your truck in. Like my truck is always plugged in, so it's never been an issue.
Yeah.
It's more like a just what if scenario if your breaker trips or somebody unplugs your cord.
Whatever it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should have your truck plugged in.
Yeah.
But
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
It can get cold enough that the truck won't even crank,
yeah,
let alone the heat. Minus 40 F, N, and C is the same.
that's where they meet.
That's where they meet. So, but at minus 40, we got a no start, battery voltage
Yeah.
down to like
You're
3
not
volts.
starting a truck at minus 40 without being plugged in, even like with a factory grid heater. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
And we're looking at our data from the cold cell, and we're going to do a video
Yeah.
on what we found. But we instrumented coolant temperature and sump temperature.
Yeah.
So even with the block heat, I got to look at the data and see how much that brings up oil temperature.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't know this, they actually, because of this whole thing,
Yeah.
rented a cold cell so they could simulate Saskatchewan weather in California.
Yes.
And that's how they developed this new kind of upgrades to the existing Monster Ram or the new design,
Exactly.
which is
And we
awesome.
tested all this stuff in the cold cell.
That's cool.
So we know what's required in a 2024 truck with
Yeah.
about 8,000 miles on it.
Stock truck.
Stock truck,
Yeah.
yeah. But we put in the good interstate
Batteries. Oil, 540 oil.
540.
Yeah.
We did all new filtration. But if you got an older truck, the injectors are kind of not too wonderful,
Yeah.
not atomizing real well. Starter's kind of worn out, whatever.
Yeah.
It might require some more block heat. But you get to a point where the battery temp, even with those interstate batteries, comes down to where when you go to start, voltage drops, ECU turns off.
Yeah. What do you need for an ECU? 10 volts?
Yeah, 9, 10, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
They fall off the edge of the world.
Yeah.
So you ain't starting anyway.
Yeah. Because you don't even
So-
have enough volts to run your
So this
ECU.
minus 40, starting at minus 40,
I never tried to start my truck at minus 40 either, by the way.
I'm going to tell you, with glow plugs, we're able to start at minus 40 with our Duramax-based
Yeah.
military engines. We've done it.
So this is the original Monster Ram.
This original, we've come out with the dual heat. So for the guys that have the original, we came out with a billet second heater.
Yeah, that's nice.
That works very well.
This is my first time seeing it. And you have the dual, right? So if you want,
And
you
we-
can put 2 heaters in.
Yeah, we kind of got a lot of single heats out there. Boom. A lot of guys are buying the dual heat as a single. So
Yeah.
when you buy the dual heat, it comes with 2 plugs
Yeah,
and a single heater.
yeah.
It's dual heat capable. If you want to go to dual heat, then you buy the second heater. This is the same price as this was. Mm-hmm. It comes with a single heater, a lot more machine work, all new tooling, and a patent pending for all you copiers. Anyhow, this guy, we've got the little jumper that comes with it.
Yeah.
It goes between the two.
Yeah, it goes right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. That gives you dual heat. Now, this is a single.
So this could be a configuration if you had the old Monster Ram.
Yes.
You could run a
You could do this.
2 heater
Yes.
and one up at the top.
Yes. And this kit is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
The dual heat. Has a map sensor relocation kit and the cable. And of course, there's a ground strap.
Oh yeah.
Electrically, it's bulletproof. Mm-hmm. And then if you've got a guy who wants to go nuts,
Do you have a dual
Wait, no.
or is that single in that one?
this is,
Oh, you got 4.
yeah.
That's the ultimate, like I
Yes.
live in the North Pole
We're of the, yeah.
and we still have to deliver presents.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the original one. We got
Mm-hmm.
750 watt heater and another one. So this one's got 1500 watt of heating.
Yes.
This one is also 1500 watt. This is the new style. So you can have them both right there. Then we go to, you could call this an old style if you just had one heater in the middle. Dual down there. So what's that? 2250
Yep.
watts of heating. And then this is, I'm going to test this out. 'Cause I think this is overkill. But like, what's that? 3,000?
That's 3,000.
3,000?
I can't think, good, better, best. I don't know.
Yeah. I have
know.
a feeling that for me and my application, like with plugging my truck in, I think 2 will probably be fine. But I might run 3 just for those emergency situations.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably end up doing 2 here, and then I'll just run a single down here. I don't want to put 3 up here. And I also feel like then you're kind of like sucking in some already warm air. Well, I do really appreciate you like actually kind of working with like Canadians, you know?
Well,
Because you could have taken an approach where you could have just, like a lot of companies probably would have. Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't. But this is awesome. This is really innovative, and I think it's going to be great.
I don't prejudge like that.
No?
No.
That's good.
I mean, what we just did in the dyno room, I like to teach.
Yeah,
I get a kick out of it. It just does something for me
yeah,
when I see the light go on.
yeah,
You can see it in your eyes.
yeah,
And I went, man, he's getting this.
yeah.
This is worthwhile.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Gale. I appreciate you taking the time to meet me and have your guys show me around and show me the dyno cell and all that stuff.
My pleasure.
I
Loved it.
And I appreciate working with me on the Monster Rams, and I'm looking forward to I'm not looking forward to it. When I go home, it's going to be cold, so we can start starting to test these things out and see what works best for somebody that lives in Saskatchewan like myself.
And I'll let you know about the cold cell
Yeah?
and the results. Give you the report.
You're going to put out a video on the cold cell?
I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to you guys and seeing how you guys act in the cold. You're probably, oh, it's so cold, my fingers. Anyway, I really appreciate you having me here. This is really cool to see everything. I look forward to seeing what you come up with in the future.
It was my honor. Thank you. It looks like things are going to get real cold real fast. If you want more heat, head to bankspower.com today.
I can't feel my fingertips, so I'm ready to get out of here.